Hey, I'm Greg Mann from Greater Orlando Realty. Welcome back to the GMANN Show. We've got a great show coming up. We've got Barry Miller from The Closing Agent. We've got the Mortgage Minute, but first, let's welcome Barry. Barry, welcome to the show.
Great, thanks for having me, Greg.
My pleasure. Barry, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're one of the best attorneys in town. You do real estate stuff and you teach great classes, so give me the whole thing.
Well, I've been doing this a long time. So as a matter of fact, this November is going to be 40 years, believe it or not, of me practicing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, I started very young. I started practicing, and I practiced in Orlando my whole career. I started when I was about 21 years old. I graduated law school, came to Orlando. I love it here. I've seen this community change and grow and blossom, and I'm glad that I've been part of it in a lot of different ways. So we've got a little different philosophy than most title companies and attorneys, the way we operate. We have 7 locations around Central Florida. We've got 5 real estate attorneys on staff. And we do things a little bit different because we think it's a process, and it's a process that attorneys should be involved in. A lot of states require that you have an attorney involved in the transaction. So a lot of those people moving in from up north will tell their realtor, I'd like an attorney involved. And so we have a great program for buyers or sellers for a flat fee. We'll represent them throughout the whole process because there's a lot of minefields out there, and if you can get yourself in a lot of trouble.
So I want to sell my house. I don't want to use an agent. FSBO. What's the main step I should do after making the bad decision of being a FSBO?
Well, that's what I was going to say. The first thing is surround yourself with professionals, and one of those are realtors.
Yes.
And we deal with realtors all the time, and a good realtor is essential because they've got experience in this, and we work hand in hand with them. But let's say they decide they are going to go out on their own. So if they do, what we can do is everything from A to Z. We can draft the contract, negotiate the contract. After inspection, if there needs to be a repair addendum, do that. We'll review title on the seller side, clear up any title issues involved, and of course do the closing.
So title, a lot of people understand title, they're in the business, they deal with this daily, but the average person sometimes is like, title, what is that? I'm not buying a car. Well, we know that because title is a phrase in cars, selling a lot. What's the benefit? Well, it's a clear benefit of conveying clean title, but what do you do behind the scenes if there's a cloud on the title when someone's trying to purchase?
So what title insurance does is it protects you from the right title and interest of that property. And the nice thing about title insurance is you pay the premium once when you buy it, and it's good for as long as you own your home. Unlike auto or homeowners, you got to pay every year. So what we do is we get the title search, and one of the nice things we do for our agents is we give them a title search up front when they list the property. So we can see if there's any problems, we can get going on them before you get a contract. Because the worst thing you want to do is get a contract, buyer says, I got cash, I want to close in a week, run title, and then we find a problem that may take 3 or 4 weeks to clear up. So there's all kinds of challenges out there. Sometimes there'll be a outstanding mortgage that's never been satisfied. Sometimes there'll be a lien on the property, right or wrong. Sometimes we have what we call a wild mortgage. It will be, we had once where the people were selling lot 116. When we ran title, it showed a mortgage, but some names on there like, who are these people? So we did a little research. The people that the mortgage was in actually owned lot 161. They made a typo. So it took about a month to clear that up. So we clear up all those things. And then the other part is the exceptions to title. What's not covered. So we go through those with the client so they know what it is. Mainly those are homeowners association rules, easements, things like that that may affect the property, but the buyer should be aware. And all title insurance policies are not the same. Just like all homeowners or auto insurance, there's different things. There's things called the standard exceptions that are on there. We, as a company, take those off and remove them without you even asking. Why? Because our philosophy is if I can give you a better policy and it doesn't cost me anything, why wouldn't I do it? A lot of my competitors don't do that. But we feel like if you can give a better product, why not do it?
That's actually great. And what I like about you and your company is that you're very, very diligent with every single part of the process. I literally can pick the phone up and actually speak to you about any question, any time of the day. If you're not available, you reach back. What are the most common questions you get about transfer of title, for instance, from, let's just say from an agent?
Well, a lot of times we'll get deed and vesting questions.
Okay.
How should we vest the property? So, if it's husband and wife or spouses, obviously by law, it goes that way. But more important is there's two people buying. So let's say there's two single people that are buying together. Mm-hmm. Well, if it says nothing, they own it tenants in common. So if you and I bought a piece of property and it's just my name and your name,
yep.
tenants in common, you own 50, I own 50.
Yep.
But in today, a lot of times there's two single people that they're in a relationship but they're not married.
Yes.
So what we'll suggest to them is perhaps you'd like it to be joint tenants with right of survivorship. So that if something happens to one, it will go to the other person automatically and void probate.
Yeah.
The other thing that's become very popular lately is what they call ladybird deeds.
Okay.
And that's especially with older people.
Yeah.
So they want to keep the property in their name, but when something happens to them, they want it to go to their family. And that way they don't have to probate it. So if you wanted to do a ladybird deed, it could be put in your name, and then you can sell it, mortgage it, do whatever you want, just like you own it. Mm-hmm. But then when something happens to you, it automatically, say, goes to, if you want it to go to your brother.
Yeah.
And that way it avoids probate, and it's instantaneous.
That's a great tool, isn't it? So I talk to a lot of investors, and they're buying one property, two property, multiple properties. What's the best way for them to take possession of that property and protect themselves for the future?
Well, that's a great question. We do a lot of representation of investors, and there's not a vanilla answer to that. We analyze what the whole situation is. The safest way, sure, puts each property into a separate LLC, but that gets expensive.
It does, yeah.
So let's talk about alternatives. Maybe we set up a land trust, or we could set up another form of trust. Maybe we do a group, maybe 3 in one LLC.
Got you.
And what I always recommend to investors is good insurance.
Yes.
Because if someone gets hurt on the property, you want good coverage.
Yeah.
Umbrella policies are great. Mm-hmm. You can get a $3-5 million umbrella policy, usually for under $1,000. And that's great protection. And we always recommend our investors do that.
So you can have a client come to you and you can talk to them about trusts. You can put all that together for them. You can help protect them. You're advising with the insurance. They're going to go out and get the extra insurance, because what folks don't understand is if there is an accident, you're renting a house out and there's an accident at that house, it might just be a drunken guy came over and fell over and it's its own fault. But guess what? He thinks I'm going to sue, and let's sue the landlord because they've always got more money than anyone else. So you've got many ways of protecting that landlord. I'm sure you get lots of questions from people that haven't used a professional. They've got a tenant in a property and the tenant's not paying, or they're abusing, or the tenant's moved in 6 family members and 10 dogs. How do you deal with that situation?
Well, first you have to have a good lease.
Yeah.
A lot of agents and a lot of people use, there's a lease out there that's approved by the Florida Association of Realtors.
You're going to say that.
And it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't tell anyone to use it.
No.
It's not endorsed by the bar,
No.
Versus the contract, which is a FAR bar, which is approved by the bar and the Realtor Association. So first get a good lease, and a lease that's going to protect the landlord. And that's one thing we work with investors. We'll find out what they want to do. Do you want automatic renewals? What's going to be covered?
Yes.
What's not going to be covered? So we make a good lease for them. They get charged a one-time fee, and then they can just fill in the name and the amount, right, and the names and the amount. Yeah. And then they've got a great standard lease.
Yes.
And every few years they'll come back to us and say anything new that's changed to be updated. For example, there's a recent case law out there, as we all know, about the 3-day notice.
Yes.
Did you know you can waive that?
I did actually know you could waive that.
So there's a recent case that if you put that in the lease, that you don't have to do that. They agree to waive that. You won't have to do the 3-day notice.
Yeah.
That saves time.
Yes.
And effort and money. So we have that built into our standard lease now.
Now, when you get to the point you're doing an eviction, someone's using your lease, you can assist with the eviction. A lot of people get scared when they come to the state of Florida. Well, I live in New York, it takes forever to get rid of someone. It's actually very quick and swift here, isn't it?
It is. Florida is actually the statute's landlord oriented.
Yeah.
So it's basic. If you file a suit and it's for non-payment, and the tenant starts bringing up other issues, what they love to do. Oh, I didn't pay my rent, but they didn't fix the leaky faucet, or they didn't do this, or they didn't do that. The statute says that the judge can't hear any of that until you pay the rent.
Yes.
So the courts will typically say, put the money in the registry of the court, you can file a counterclaim for that, and we all know most of the time they don't have the money. So they don't post the money, we get the writ of possession, and then it goes out to the sheriff.
So it's pretty straightforward, pretty quick.
It is pretty quick. And different counties, it's faster than other counties, depending on the judge's caseload.
Yeah.
And then once it goes to the sheriff, depends on how backlogged they are.
Yeah. Now, so you do purchase agreements, you assist with that, you do residential leasing agreements. You do a cool thing, I think, in this, you pay back. You pay back to the industry, you pay back to people such as myself. You do a lot of things with local realtors, agents, brokers, you do continue education classes, and I'm going to say your classes are phenomenal, by the way, I've been to many of them. How does an agent get to come to these classes? How do they get to understand what you can teach and use that in their day-to-day business?
Well, one of the things that's been a core of our business, I've been practicing for 40 years, the closing agent's been around for 30 years, is we believe in community. And we believe in giving back to the community on a professional level and to the general public. Whether we're, for the holidays, we did food drives for Second Harvest.
Yeah.
We're always involved with something because I believe you have to give back to the community. So for the realtor community, I believe education is a cornerstone for a good agent. The more they know, the more they can help their client.
Yeah.
So for over 15 years, we've been doing monthly classes. Now, before the pandemic, they were in person.
Yeah.
Now, since the pandemic, we've been doing them online. And quite frankly, I'm not sure we're going to go back to in person because we reach so many more people, and it's so much easier. So the second Wednesday of every month, we got one coming up this Wednesday, and it's every day. It's a different topic. So, for example, the February topic is easements. So we're going to talk about easements, how they affect the closing, what you should do. The contract says that the seller shall give the prior policy and the prior survey up front. Get it, review it, and then what do we do when there's a problem? We had one recently where they built a garage behind the house, and 4 feet was into the drainage easement.
Oh, wow.
And the lender said,
nope,
can't give coverage for that, so we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So we had to look on a solution. So one of the solutions was trying to vacate that easement, which would have taken months and months and cost a lot of money. So one of the things is we contacted the municipality this was involved in, got on the phone with them, explained the situation, and the head of planning and zoning there said it was a mistake. The contractor did it, was 4 feet off.
Yeah.
They approved the building permits and signed off on it. So he was going to try to administratively give us a approval of this. And then the city attorney said no.
Yeah.
And they said, actually, it's going to have to go to city council and there has to be an ordinance. And we were like, oh, this is going to be a long time. These people are not going to be able to close. Well, one thing we did is we did a pre-occupancy agreement, so the buyer could get in there on the closing date and save them the money of storing their furniture.
Yep.
And then what we did is we had discussions with the city, and then what they did is they issued what's called a non-conformity letter, saying this is it's non-conforming.
Yep.
We know it. We acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went back to our underwriter, and our underwriter is the one that insures the property. We're just an agent for them. We went back to them and said, look, we've got this letter now. So why wouldn't we give the lender the title insurance to write over this and insure it? Because the risk is minimal. What's the risk?
Yeah.
So they agreed with me. The lender said okay, and then we closed it, saving thousands of dollars and probably 2 or 3 months worth of lag time to get it done. So
that's the power of having an attorney behind you. So Barry, if somebody wants to get hold of you, how do they get hold of you?
So all of our information is on our website, theclosingagent.com. And by the way, all of our classes we put up there for free. They're recorded. Yeah. You can look at them, whether it's a realtor or just someone from the general public. Our phone number is 407-425-2400. And my email is barry@theclosingagent.com. So it's easy.
That's awesome. Barry, I want to thank you for being on the show. I thank you very much for all the work you do behind the scenes, all the stuff you put back into the local economy and paying back. So much appreciate that. We'll hopefully get to see you soon. I'm Greg Mann from Greater Orlando Realty. We'll be right back with a Mortgage Minute. Stay tuned.
Managing your investment property is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Sign up at GoRent123.com. 2. Let Greater Orlando Realty handle everything for you when it comes to managing your property. From qualifying tenants to collecting rent, processing maintenance requests, and everything in between. 3. Sit back, relax, and count all that money you're making. Earning passive income on your property is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Greater Orlando Realty. Visit GoRent123.com today.
Hey, I'm Greg Mann from Greater Orlando Realty. Welcome back to the GMANN Show. With me today for the Mortgage Minute is Sonia Hishimi from Edge Home Finance. Sonia, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Things are changing in your market. The world's changing, interest rates are changing, but people are still buying houses like crazy. Foreign folks come to the USA all the time and purchase properties. How do you help those guys?
Well, it's amazing to be in USA because I get this every single day. People trying to buy homes for different purposes. Some may want to come for a vacation. Some people want to come invest. So different reasons that we do the foreign national loans. And part of being a mortgage broker gives me the ability to kind of shop around because there's no set rules. It's an investment product, so different lenders have different rules for it. So we can kind of shop around and find the best product, for that customer.
Now, how's that a different loan, say, from someone who's just buying a house? Someone who lives in the States, they're buying a house, quite straightforward. Your investors are a bit different, isn't it? Foreign investors are different.
Foreign investors are different, so you cannot live in the United States and get a foreign national loan. You will have to live outside of the U.S. and be a citizen of the country that you're living in order to buy a home in the U.S. And like I said, different lenders do have different policies for it. So it's basically as an investment loan, but has the twist of different documents needed because you're a foreign.
So down payment, 10, 20, 15%, what,
25 to 30%, depending on the lender.
Do they need to have, can a foreign investor have a TN number? Does that make life easier for him?
We have different loans for different products. We have a ITN loan as well.
Okay.
So yes, we can do that.
So basically, I live in Brazil, I want to buy a house here, I reach out to you, you tell me what I need.
Some of the lenders are making it so super easy where you don't even need a visa. There are products you don't need a visa. You need a valid passport from the foreign country. You need bank statements showing that you have the money in your bank, and we could translate it to US. And some lenders require the money to be in US. Some lenders require it to be, it's a fine to be in their own country. 2-month statements is all we need. Super easy loan. I think a lot of lenders get nervous about it because it's different. We're so used to doing our FHAs and conventional loans in the United States, but it's an easy product to close.
So I can use that sort of loan to buy residential property, or can I buy some commercial?
You can do either one.
Either one. Mm-hmm. So if I want to come across here and set up a huge production plant, I can buy the building using that type of loan. How long typically does that loan take from start to finish to?
I usually, give me 45 days.
45 days. So it's pretty much the same as any other loan,
45 days,
yeah.
We can close any of them, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And are people required to to wire in additional funds prior to closing? Is it all wired in at one time?
It is one of those products, like I said, it's per lender, but it's the same thing. You put your deposit in, and then you put in the funds when you go to closing.
So it's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Pretty straightforward.
So let me ask you this. How does someone that lives outside the US wanting to buy their investment property or their commercial building get in touch with you, Sonia?
You can call me directly. I answer most of my calls unless I'm here on the show with you, which is 407-403-8658. My website is loanswithsonia.com, but I'm available on all social media, Facebook, Instagram.
Hey, that's great. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So that's Sonia with the Mortgage Minute. We've learned how you can purchase a property from abroad. It's very straightforward, 45 days, not a great deal of money down. So we're going to take a break. Keep watching. We'll be right back with a very, very interesting financial advisor. So keep watching. This is the GMANN Show.
Managing your investment property is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Sign up at GoRent123.com. 2. Let Greater Orlando Realty handle everything for you when it comes to managing your property. From qualifying tenants to collecting rent, processing maintenance requests, and everything in between. 3. Sit back, relax, and count all that money you're making. Earning passive income on your property is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Greater Orlando Realty. Visit GoRent123.com today.
Hey, welcome back to the GMANN Show. Here with Laura Collins from First International Title. Laura, tell me what you do, tell me how you do it, and tell me how people get hold of you.
Thank you. I am Laura Collins with First International Title. My phone number is 314-265-9000. And I always appreciate a text to get to know me. I am one of the sales reps for the downtown office of First International Title. We do have 37 offices, and I represent our downtown office and Waterford Lakes office. One of the things about me with my clients are realtors and loan officers mostly, and anybody that's selling their house, they get to choose their title company. And so that's why a lot of people depend on their realtors to choose their title company, and that's why they're my clients. I have worked at Disney for 20 years, and anybody that works with me is going to have that kind of customer service that Disney has instilled in me. I love to help, I love to be available, and I want to make sure that they are growing their business, and it is about them.
So you'll do open houses, you'll go to offices, you'll help agents build their business, all with a cheerful smile. How do people get hold of you?
You can, again, get a hold of me, 314-265-9000.
I'm Greg Mann, this is the GMANN Show. If you want to contact me to sell your home, buy a home, rent a home, or be a landlord wanting to put a home into property management, 407-774-9858 or GoRent123.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.